Yes, a very good morning to you who is watching NTV this morning, and happy May Day to all workers in Uganda and internationally. We are coming to you from the land of 1,000 hills, the land of King of Toro, that is King Oyo, where this year's Labor Day celebrations is being held. Of course, this is the day we celebrate every worker for their contribution to this economy. Today, we understand Uganda's economy is over 180 trillion shillings in terms of the wealth that we have as a nation, as in terms of GDP. And this is contribution basically made by each and every person, effort that is being contributed to this nation. But we know that there is still a long distance that we have to cover to ensure that we reach where we are in terms of safety standards at workplaces, in terms of ensuring that everything that we do, everybody is happy wherever they are. So that's what we expect the president to talk about today as he addresses the nation from here, Fort Portal, in the Rwenzori sub-region or parts of western Uganda. We have been in Toro, in the city. People are happy. People are going about with their business. The town, of course, through USMID projects, the roads have been improved, and you can see that there is some semblance of work, and everybody appears to be happy. But with me, I'm joined by a seasoned member of parliament, workers representative, that is Honorable Arina Rwakajara, who is going to help us understand some of the issues as workers MP. Good morning, sir, and happy Labor Day.
Good morning,
yes,
brother. And I want to thank NTV that is broadcasting this, but also I want to congratulate workers in Uganda and the whole world that we are celebrating this day for the workers, for their sweat, for their sacrifice, and for their rights. So we are here in Fort Portal to celebrate that, and we've been here for 2 days now. Within different activities, we've been moving, walking around the city. Yesterday we marched the whole city, giving morale to the workers, and we are joined by so many workers from tea factories, from sugar, from local government. So the celebrations are in high gears, and we're expecting the president in the shortest time.
Okay.
Yes.
So, of course, it is good that you're on ground, as you have said, for the last 2 days. But previously, if I can recall, in the 9th Parliament, as far as that, we used to see the workers and representatives very vibrant, coming up with a number of bills or motions to gear towards the improvement of the rights of workers. Somehow, my observation is that has a little bit gone down. What are you exactly doing currently as workers MPs?
Currently, we have not stopped from advocating for the workers. Every season has its own challenges. There are workplace challenges. There are parliamentary legislations that are necessary. For example, if I talk about the legislation in Parliament, we have Employment Act that we are trying to amend, and Parliament passed it, and His Excellency has not assented to it. Some clauses were brought back, and we are also not happy with the government, some clauses that they had brought in. For example, the labor officers, the clause was depriving powers from labor officer. Yet, as the SIM says this time, accessibility to the justice, the labor officer is the first court of justice in labor. So he should be the one to first sort of disputes between the employer and the employee before you go to industrial court, before you go to other authorities or director of labor commissioner. So before that, justice should be given on the ground at the district level. However, this clause wanted to change that, and that's why the bill is back to Parliament. Number 2, the bill on minimum wage. We are bringing it back because the president still did not assent to it on advice of one of the directors in the labor ministry, which was very unfortunate. It was processed, I brought a private member's bill. It was processed by Parliament and passed, and we sent it to the President. So the President returned it again. So we want to resubmit it, and then we move on. Then the other part is handling disputes in different workplaces, in factories, in companies, in all different workplaces. So we've been handling that. We have never sat, and members of Parliament, we are always invited in all sectors of work to resolve different issues. You've been seeing teachers' issues, medical workers' issues, local government workers' issues, and those ones, we have a mechanism of discussion of this, and especially in the Ministry of Public Service, we have a law that allows us to negotiate every financial year to see the welfare of the workers and discuss terms and conditions of the services. Yes.
Honorable, talking about this year's theme, which is improving access to labor justice, a prerequisite for increased productivity.
Yes.
That shows you, if we're talking about justice, it means there are some elements of concerns among the workers. What could this be? Since you have been moving around and engaging with the workers, you must be knowing their grievances and issues that needs to be tackled and resolved to ensure that everybody is happy where they are.
The grievances are so many, and that is the challenge that we are having. First of all, our employers have these capitalist tendencies of exploitation, and so the grievances starts from low pay. They start from dismissal without a reason, because someone has worked for some time and they feel maybe is demanding for an increment or something, then they dismiss you without any case. Then a non-remittance of NSSF contribution, they cut on their salaries, but they don't remit to the NSSF. So you find someone, by the time he retires, he has not saved anything, yet they have been cutting this money. So then work of hours, some of them are work for 20 hours, 24 hours. They work day and night, which is not acceptable under Labor Unions Act and under Employment Act. All those ones, you are not supposed to work beyond 8 hours, unless they can be paid overtime. So overtime are not paid. So many things. So the grievances are so many, and that has caused have caused a lot of unresolved disputes in ministry, at labor offices, at district, and industrial court itself. So the backlog in industrial court is huge, that cannot be resolved by 2 judges. Because of those grievances that I've told you. So it is too huge, and then we requested for more judges. So we resolved that 3 judges should be added, and they become 5. But it has not been done. I think maybe in this financial budget, whatever financial budget could come in, but the government is slow in doing this. So, but we need more judges to resolve all these problems, because you find that the employers, and when the employers see that the justice cannot be dispersed very fast, they also drag in, they take time, they do. So the backlog is too much in the industrial court.
Yes.
And even the judges have cried, please help us. Yes, we have the people that help them. We have, but we need real judges to give justice to the workers. You find cases of 2 years, 1 year, and of course you know it very well that justice delayed is justice denied.
Sure.
There are cases of a certain lady who was in court for 3 years, and by the time she got justice, it was too late for her. She had suffered, she had nowhere to sleep, yet she was dismissed unfairly. So those are the issues, really. Yes.
And then I know there is a clause under the NSSF Act that provides that you know, you have talked about this savings being deducted, but they are not remitted.
Yes.
But then I think there is a clause under the NSSF Act that says the institution, the fund, can have negotiations with the respective institutions that are not remitting, maybe to have those penalties waived off. Do you think that is fair on the part of somebody who has been working, and then, you know, he has taken 10 years and only to hear that the company is unable to pay what it was supposed to pay, and therefore somehow they can be excused from it? Is that fair really for a worker?
Of course, like any other defaulter, when someone has defaulted, what do you do? So it is not a negotiation. Someone who has defaulted should be given a penalty. That one, there is no question about it. So they are supposed to be penalized. They are supposed to compensate this worker whom they have not been remitting his savings or her savings. So this should, and actually they are supposed even to go to court. So it's not a matter of negotiation. It's a matter of compliance. You must comply according to the law, and the law is very clear. They find out that you have not been remitting, then you will be penalized. Yes, even even be imprisoned.
Okay.
Yes.
And then speaking about what has been going on in Parliament, I think there has been a lot of anxiety outside there, most especially with the rationalization process. Some workers may have not been happy because, you know, this talk has been there for almost 5 years. You know, you are going to be rationalized, you are going to be this. To those employees who are likely to lose their jobs as a result of maybe mergers or some of these entities actually being taken back to the ministry, what is your message to them? Because I think counseling is very crucial at such a time. I don't know whether some of these have been taken through that process, but for you as a legislator, what would be your word to such people who are going to be affected? They have children in school and so on. But also you are reducing numbers of people that you have been employing. We are talking of unemployment rate being a little bit high, and therefore you would think people should be having where they are doing something small, and here we are reducing the numbers. Is that fair at this time?
It is very unfortunate. I have lost the discussion because they say the government, the executive is saying, for us we are removing the board. We are going to retain most of the workers. When you say most of the workers, how and where are you taking them? It is a gray area that really we are waiting to see how it will be managed. But what they have confirmed, they are saying that they are going to save a lot of money from the expenses that they have been spending now. They are saying it will be more efficient than what it is. But me, I don't agree with that. First of all, the efficiency issue, it is a different story altogether. We know how the public servants perform in their ministries. We know the bureaucracies. We know the issues that are surrounding them. We know corruption issues. So I don't see there that it will resolve the problem. But also, people who are going to be laid off, we don't know whether that money is there for paying them. Because when you terminate my services, you should pay me damages. And if it is massive, then how are they going to handle it? Or people are going to demand for years and years when they have not given them their terminal benefits. So all this is very unfortunate. However, what we will not accept is to let anybody, and the government is not ready to compensate this person. In time, we will not accept that. So, number two, I hope most of them are going to be retained, being transferred their services in the ministry and be accommodated in the ministry. If they are not doing that, then that will be very unfortunate. And I hope the government should understand that they should not cause this crisis for no good reason. Indeed, there is no employment, the economy is not doing well, everything is not upright. So if we again add in this problem of laying off most of the people and then they become unemployed, and then they have been on the certain salaries. So compensating them, I see it as a very expensive venture for the government that will cause crisis.
And then, of course, the other question that people have been asking outside there is that by the time Parliament legislated and established some of these entities that are now being talked about being merged or even phased out, there was indication that this institution is needed. If you are talking about effective service delivery, we know sometimes the bureaucracies that come with the ministries. If, for example, today we are under a rainy season and sometimes the roads are being damaged, it is easier for UNRWA, for instance, maybe to move and go on ground to, like we saw in Chengera the other day. Isn't this going in a way going to cripple service delivery? Is this a debate that you have been having when you were trying to legislate on these issues?
It is very clear. The bureaucracy of the ministry, we all know. And it is not you see, workplace culture, or the culture at workplace, changing it is not a one-day business. So it needs some time, it needs retooling, it needs a different supervision, it needs a different handling of issues. So when we revert back to the ministry, I don't think that efficiency will be there, and quick response to some issues is not going to be there. And that's why Parliament, we have said the UNRWA, stay. Those sensitive authorities, organizations, we are saying, or agencies, we are saying, please stay. Number two, when you see agencies in the Ministry of Agriculture, we have said we have not touched most of them. So we are being sensitive. We are waiting for the response of the executive, but we are being sensitive, and for us, we want to make things. Maybe we can. There are those agencies that were not even performing. There are those ones that are just on paper, that were not effective and not in place. So we are saying some agencies should not be touched. We don't know how the executive will respond, but we hope they should agree with us and these agencies continue working, such that we avoid closing the whole operations. Yes.
We know that agriculture employs, actually it is the biggest employer.
Yep.
And sometimes others have argued that it may be a fallacy, because if you're talking of unemployment rate in Uganda, it will actually show you that the unemployment is a little bit low compared to some other countries. We're always talking about below 10% unemployment rate. But sometimes this is because people are doing something small which actually do not earn them a better living. However, speaking about the same agriculture, the people here in Toro are one of those who grow tea. And you have just indicated to me that you were interacting with them during the 2 days that you have been here. But there was that issue of the prices of tea going so low. And this is where people have been earning a living. And some people even were talking about cutting down their tea plants.
They have done,
so
some have done.
Exactly. If you can, what is the picture we are having currently since we had this, the issue came to Parliament? Has anything changed? And how is it being resolved if it still stands?
I think it was an oversight and overdue, something that we didn't mind about. But I think, first of all, tea should have got a policy in the government on how to regulate it and how to run the business, like coffee, like dairy, like other sectors. Possibly, although we are removing authorities or agencies, it should have had its own agents. So, unfortunately, it has been a sector that has been running almost on its own. And when this crisis happened, it could be international, that prices were affected. There was no quick response. There was nobody, monitoring this. It was business people running the whole show. But the government did not detect this, and then how should they come in? How should they behave when there is such a crisis? So, and indeed, it has affected so many people in tea sector. And some factories have closed, workers have lost jobs, I am sure investors have lost money, which is very dangerous. So how should the government respond to save this sector? So that is a very serious issue. Although I've heard prices are peaking, but such a shocks, government should be ready to respond to such a shocks, and see how to manage. Because when you invite investors, when you put in even money, support them, and then at the end of the day, it is a fair kind of business. And then when the prices are up, everybody loses. Workers go, factories close, investors close. It's very unfortunate. This should be overseen, should be seen before anything has happened.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to thank you very much, Honorable, for speaking to us and sparing your time. Of course, he has talked about a range of issues that are affecting workers, where they talk about their savings that are deducted but are not remitted, the compliance by these entities, and also ensuring that NSSF picks that money. Talked about industrial court, where most of these grievances are handled, but currently there is a backlog because the number of judges there are fewer. We have talked about the issues of tea, the challenges that are faced by tea growers. So I hope from this you have picked something, and I want to wish every labourer International Labour Day. Back to you in the studio.